Hey guys, it's Amanda from AmandaReads, and today I'm going to be doing my April wrap-up and May TBR video. In the month of April, I managed to read 6 novels, 1 graphic novel, and I finished an audiobook. The first book I finished in the month of April was A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. I absolutely fell in love with the storyline. I thought it was so cute and such a great idea, and I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for something light and fluffy and just really easy to get through, then definitely pick this up. Next, in April, I finished Go Ask Alice by Anonymous. This is a true story, and this was an experience to read. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars as well, and I just thought it was so powerful. And it's a girl's diary from the 70s, and she gets caught up in drugs, and so it's really chronicling her journey, and you really feel it. Like, you feel her ups and downs, you feel for this girl, and even more so when you stop and say to yourself, this actually happened, this is a real person. Because I was sympathizing with her as if she were like a fictional character, and I'd have to stop and keep telling myself, this person was real, this was her life. And it just hits you even harder. And that ending, oh my goodness, like I was affected by this book. Next up, I finished Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. And this is illustrated, I believe, by Fiona Staples. So this is volume 1. I gave it 3.5 stars, only because it's very strange. It's not what I was expecting. I loved the illustrations. They're amazing. But it's such a different story than I was expecting. It's like these two people who fall in love, but they're from like different, it's like races, but they're really different species, and their planets are battling, so like a forbidden love, kind of like Romeo and Juliet, and they have a baby, and so everyone's after them, and they shouldn't have had a baby, and all this crazy stuff. So I'm interested. I do want to continue to see how it progresses. But I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Spirit's Key by Edith Cohn, and I thought this was such a good story. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was whimsical. It was just a delight to read, to be honest. Spirit really grows from the beginning. She kind of starts in the beginning as depending on her dad and just kind of going through life and accepting everything that's happening. And then she realizes there comes a turning point where she needs to start taking action and she needs to step up, and it's great to see her develop. The only complaint I have about this book is that it wasn't longer, because I flew through this in like half a day, and it's over 300 pages, and I just wanted more. And it's not like there was anything left unsaid. It's not like there were any cliffhangers. It was a complete, well-written, standalone novel, and I just am being a little bit greedy, and I wish that there was more to it, because I really did enjoy it, and that is the reason I didn't give it 5 stars. So yeah, it's probably like 5 stars, but no. Then I finished the audiobook The Coldest Girl in Coal Town by Holly Black, and I gave this book a 3.5 rating out of 5. And the reason was I enjoyed the story, but I felt like it was just so action-packed and quick-moving that you didn't really get any development. And I liked the story. I don't have any complaints except the beginning. I do not understand how she was so calm and just like, oh, this happened, I'm just gonna go about my life. Like, what? I was expecting like an emotional breakdown. And why was the main character not touched in that beginning? Why? Because she fell asleep? I don't believe that. Like, I don't understand. Because there was garlic? Is that why? I don't know. I just felt like that part wasn't very believable, and I did not understand how she was just like, look at everybody, I'm moving on. Like, yeah, she was a little bit in shock, but not really. After The Coldest Girl in Coal Town, I got another audiobook called A Dirty Job, I believe, and it was about a guy who sees his wife die, and then he becomes like a master of death, and then he like kills people by accident. And it sounds really good, but I did not like the guy who read. He was like trying to be too intense, and there were a lot of swears in the book, so I'm just riding the car and the guy's like, F this, I was like, this is too intense for my morning commute. So I ended up not finishing it because I had April vacation and I really only listen to audiobooks in the car, so my rental expired. And to be honest, I think I'd rather pick up the book and finish it than listen to that guy because, yeah, I wasn't feeling him. Next, I finished The Little Woods by McCormick Templeman, and I really like this story. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, there wasn't a lot to the story. There wasn't a ton of stuff going on, but I really liked it. It was like the right amount of scary mixed with suspense, so it wasn't too scary, but it wasn't too mysterious. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. It was just a nice read. I got through it really quickly. I was interested in it. By no means is it the best written book I've ever read, but I liked it, so that's what matters. Then I managed to finish Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which of course, 5 out of 5 stars. What can I say? This is, I think, my favorite movie, but reading this book, I realized it's not necessarily my favorite book. I just love all the Harry Potter. Finally, I finished To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now, this book, in the beginning, was so slow to me, and I was literally sitting there thinking, why does everyone give this book so much praise? I'm bored. I don't even want to read it. I had to kind of force myself to read it. I might not have been in the mood for like a light, young romance, but I picked it up and I don't like to read more than one book at once, so I had to finish it. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars because when it hit that point and the romance started, I got sucked in even though I didn't really want to be. I just really liked Peter, and his attitude reminded me so much of people that I've dated in my life. I just really enjoyed watching the two main characters develop, and I'm so excited because the final book in the duology is coming out this month, and I hope to get it at some point, probably not this month, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm a little nervous because Jenny Han has said that it will be more focused on a boy that we didn't really hear a lot about, and so I'm thinking that it has to not be Peter. But that's who my favorite character was, so I wish it would be. But I'm really excited to see how things wrap up in the final book. So you may have noticed that I did not end up reading City of Fallen Angels, and that is because I decided that I actually wanted to read The Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments in the order in which they were published. So technically I need to be reading Clockwork Angel before I read City of Fallen Angels, and I might even need to read Clockwork Prince. I think that's the second one. So I will not be reading City of Fallen Angels yet. It will happen, it just has not happened yet. I have a pretty ambitious TBR pile for the month of May. I have a lot of books on my shelf that need to be read, and I have more coming, which you will see when they get here. So I really want to read a lot this month. First, I'm going to be picking up Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. I want to finish Harry Potter. I've been rereading it for about 3 months now, and I'm so excited for this final book. I've only ever read this one time, and I cannot wait to read it again. This month, I also want to read Coraline by Neil Gaiman. As I stated before, this is one of my favorite movies, and I can't wait to read this book. I actually had to buy this in college for my children's lit class, and I was supposed to read it then, but I never did, so I guess I should get around to it now. I also want to read Behind the Bookcase by Mark Steensland. I would actually like to read this after I read Coraline to compare the two, since I feel like they might have some of the same story aspects. And this was in my last book haul video, and it's like short and looks very manageable, so I'm very excited to read this. I also want to read Clockwork Angel so that I can move forward with the Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments series and make a dent in them, because I'm only 3 books in. Finally, I want to read Revenge, which is the Ghost Whisperer book by Joanna Durgan that I talked about in my book haul video, and I'm so excited, but I wanted to start reading this, and I read like the first page and it seemed really creepy, and I was late at night and I didn't want to read it then, so I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna hold off, but I am gonna read it this month. So that was my April wrap-up and my May TBR. If you did a video like this, please link it down below so I can go watch it. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.